Hi, and welcome to Self Care Black Girls, a podcast where we relax, sip tea, and chat about bettering ourselves as black girls. I'm BB, and I'll be helping guide you to make better choices in your daily lives. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2021. And I don't know if you all have been paying attention to the news, but even if you aren't, I'm pretty sure you've seen the events that have unfolded up until today. I'm recording this on January 14th, and even though we all had hopes of a better 2020, of a better 2021, it's not looking that great. But, we're going to try to push through it. We made it through 2020, and for those of us who are still alive, and hadn't had to experience COVID, we're blessed. For those of you who have experienced COVID and survived, you're blessed. I don't know what long-term side effects come with that, but I hope you're doing well. And for those of us who have lost family members to COVID, I'm very sorry. I can't express how sorry I am for. I don't even know what. I'm just sorry that you had to deal with the loss under the circumstances of something that could have been handled better. So I apologize. I hope you're getting through the grieving process okay, and that you've sought help if you needed it. So, on a brighter note, I hope you all have some realistic, and I don't say that to be mean, but we all have to think about things realistically, and I hope you all have set yourselves some realistic goals for 2020. I know I have, and I'll mention those at a later episode, but I hope you all have set a realistic set of goals and that you're working towards them, and good luck to you all. So today's episode, I'm ringing the new year in with an episode about staying focused in school. Now, as you all know, if you've been following me for a while, this is my final semester in undergrad. I graduate in May, and it's been a journey and a half. Each semester has brought new challenges. I've had to adjust to a whole new way of learning, as we all have. And it was hard at first. I must admit it was very hard, but now that I've gotten kind of a hang on it, I think I can manage, and I'm going to go out with the bang. So we're going to hold on to that. But I wanted to give you all some tips for those of you who are still in school, be it college, undergrad, graduate, high school, and middle school maybe. I'm not sure if I have anybody that young listening, but if I do, middle school, and that's about as far as I can go back, because anybody, if you're in any type of school, I have some tips for you. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. The first thing that you can do to stay focused in school is to be prepared. The worst possible thing you can do is to not be prepared. And being prepared comes in different ways depending on how you're being taught, what your learning situation is. So, for instance, for me, all of my classes are either through Zoom or are asynchronous, which means I don't have to meet at a set time. So with me knowing that, I know I need to set apart at least 5 minutes before the class starts and 5 to 10 minutes after for the first part to get myself mentally prepared for the class and to get in the class, and then after the class to have time to relax, unwind from the class. So that could be getting yourself prepared. Another way could be reading through your syllabi and making sure that you have all the textbooks or that you have enough notebooks or and whatnot that you're gonna need for the class. Being prepared could also just be being mentally prepared. After Christmas break, you have school unless you graduated in December. Which, if you did, congratulations! I'm very happy for you. But if you didn't, at the Christmas break, you've got school. So what you can do is to take a look at the date that classes are supposed to start, and then maybe 2 or 3 days, start going back to bed around the time that you would usually go to bed for school, if that makes sense. Just doing small things to get yourself back into the routine. Maybe you want to start waking up at the normal class time or close to it, because I know for those of you who are still in high school, that's like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I know you don't want to do that. But waking up closer to that time, so you know that when the time comes, you'll be able to get up a lot easier than you would be if you were to get back to that cold turkey. So just, be prepared. Make sure you're ready for school. And then once the semester starts, stay on top of things. Make sure you're reading through everything you need, course materials and all that, to make sure you have everything you need for upcoming units and lectures and sessions and stuff like that. Another tip that I have is to have something to do in your free time. And I know this sounds crazy. I promise you it's not. But think about it like this. If you have a 3-hour break, let's just say it's a 3-hour break between classes, speaking specifically to college students, because I know that's not a real thing for high schoolers, but high schoolers, you think about this. I don't know. My sister, she's a sophomore in high school, and she's got a break from 9:40 to 9:15, I believe, to 11:45. So something you could be doing in that time could be specifically watching a TV show or YouTube videos or something. Taking a nap. Do not take a 3-hour nap. Don't do that. But schedule something in that time so that you're not just sitting there on your phone anticipating your next class. Give your brain something to do. Maybe you don't want to watch TV. Maybe you can read a book, or maybe you can get on your phone for a set amount of time. Don't spend the whole 3 hours on it. It is possible, but don't do it. What am I looking for? Don't have your brain focusing on the exact same thing for the whole break, unless you're watching a TV show or YouTube video that lasts the duration of the break. Don't do that, because in your brain, even though it's a TV show or a movie, your brain is still set in that, there's something that I have to pay attention to specifically for the whole 3 hours. So give yourself something to do so that your brain can get out of class mode, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, the next thing that I want to say kind of goes into that plan. Not so much for the high schoolers, because I know you all don't get syllabi, but if you do get some type of schedule for what you all are going to be working on for the week or the day prior to the class, I would definitely plan on that. So use that to plan, so you know what you have to do, how much time you need to take to do everything and whatnot. And for those of you who don't have a break between classes, you could take an hour break after school and do whatever you want to do, and then get back to schoolwork, do your homework and whatnot, if that makes sense. So make sure you aren't just living life day by day. You have a set plan of how you want things to go. You have a schedule, you have a routine. Don't eyeball the day, Don't say, I have this amount of homework that should only take 20 minutes. And then you're sitting there rushing through trying to get done in 20 minutes when realistically the homework should have taken about 45 minutes, So make sure you have a plan. Try not to deviate from it too much. I know sometimes there will be situations where you Give yourself for an hour to do homework, and all of your homework only took 20 minutes, but try not to make it a habit to deviate from your plan or your routine or your schedule, whatever you want to call it, too much. The next thing is to have a safe space. And when I originally wrote this tip down, I was thinking because of COVID, but this could apply pre-COVID as well. Have somewhere or somebody that you can talk to or that you can go to get away from school completely. And not just school, but also social media, because that can be very toxic. Just find somewhere to go, or find somebody you can talk to where you can just be yourself. You don't have to lie about how you're feeling. You don't have to continue to act like everything is okay when it's not. Everybody may act like they're okay, but they're not. Life can be hard on anybody, and you're making it 10 times worse by bottling it up instead of getting it, letting it out. So find somewhere to go where you can vent to yourself, or journal, or pray, whatever you want to do, or somebody you can talk to, a therapist, a friend, family member, your dog, I don't know, your goldfish, somebody that you can talk to relieve yourself of those stresses that you've been holding on to, a safe space. The next thing is to be realistic. And I guess that's kind of my phrase for 2021 is to be realistic with yourself. Yes, we all want to stick to this schedule that we created at the beginning of the year, and we all have these New Year's resolutions that we want to stick to and get done, but you have to be realistic with yourself. One, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so if anything that you had revolving around school deviates, puts you in a position to either get COVID or spread it, don't do it. Don't do it. If anything around, homework or assignment wise just sounds impossible, it might be. I'm not going to say it is, but it might just be impossible, and you don't need to do it. Say, for instance, you have 3 classes in the morning and then the rest of your evening off, and then class the next morning. It would be very close to impossible to save all of your work to do for those 3 classes that afternoon, depending on what those classes are. Like, say you're a nursing major. That's almost impossible. Not saying it is, but it's almost impossible to do whatever homework or assignments that you have to do that evening for 3 different classes. So you don't want to set goals for school and they aren't realistic. If you look at something that you wrote down, like a set of assignments that you want to get done in a specific amount of time, and you say, am I going to be able to do that? Chances are you aren't. And I say chances because, again, it's not impossible, but you'd be straining yourself. But if you look at it and you say, oh, this doesn't look doable, or am I sure I'm going to get this done? Or if you have to ask somebody, does this look possible? Then chances are it's not, and you don't want to do it. Just be realistic with yourself. If you know how you function when you do homework, that you get distracted easily and whatnot, then maybe trying to do 7 assignments in one night isn't the smart thing to do. So be realistic with yourself. Don't try to do something that seems almost impossible. And the last tip I want to give you all is to cut yourself a little slack. Like I mentioned earlier, we are in the middle of a pandemic, which means in most cases we aren't in a school building. We aren't in the school environment. That's where we aren't in the ideal school environment, meaning we aren't in classrooms sitting next to our peers. Our teacher's not in front of us. They're either at home or in their classroom or in an office somewhere teaching to us. So give yourself a break. Yes, I know school can still be demanding despite the obstacles, but you need to not be so hard on yourself. It's very hard to get out of the mindset that everything is normal, and remember that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everything is not going to be normal until this virus gets gets under control. So don't be as hard on yourself as you would be if we were in a regular school environment. Just, cut yourself a little slack. If something doesn't get done, take a break, 30 minutes, come back to it. If it's still giving you a hard time, take a day off if you can afford that, and then come back to it again. Just don't push yourself to do something if you're struggling. Reach out to somebody, peer, teacher, and see if they can help you with whatever you're struggling with. But don't be so hard on yourself. Okay? But that's all that I have for you all today. I'm glad to be back. And I'm excited for this volume. And I really think this is the best way for me to host this podcast, do a certain amount of episodes, then take a couple weeks break and then come back, because I remember how I was struggling to get episodes together to get out weekly consistently for 52 weeks, and that just wasn't it. So I like this format a lot better, and I think I'm going to stick with this. So thank you all so much for listening this week, and I will see you all next week in a new episode. Bye. Thank you all so much for listening this week. If you have any questions, comments, stories, or tips, and you'd like to share them with me, email me at selfcarebgirl@gmail.com. If you'd like to help other people find this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes to help get the word out. If iTunes isn't your preferred method of listening, you can also find us on Spotify, YouTube, and many more streaming platforms. If you'd like to interact with other listeners or keep up with announcements and giveaways, you should follow me on Instagram at Selfcare Black Girls. Join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Selfcare Black Girls, or follow me on Twitter at SelfcareBGirls. Don't forget, you all still have the option to donate by either visiting my Patreon link or my merch link in the bio of my Instagram and Twitter. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you all next week. Bye.